Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels. We are your book club for movies, and this week's theme. I keep saying week, but it's month. This month's theme is Brendan Fraser. We are talking about one of his biggest roles in The Mummy. That is Andrew's pick. It's a movie that one Letterboxd reviewer called the third best Indiana Jones movie.
We also talk about Ted Lasso and how it can be a great motivator before work.
Plus, we give The Rock some unsolicited constructive career advice. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. All this week on So Many Sequels. And don't forget to check us out online on all your favorite apps. Just search for So Many Sequels. And without further ado, enjoy the show. No, Ted Lasso comes back in the spring.
Oh, it's coming back in the spring?
It comes back in the spring. They just posted that recently. Apple TV did that. They didn't give a date. They just said season 3 this spring.
Big spring. Sometime between April and what, July?
I saw an Apple TV commercial with Timothy Chalamet.
Oh my
talking
goodness.
about all of the stuff and the people who are involved with Apple TV, and they might be teasing that Timothy Chalamet going to get a little something on Apple TV. I don't know.
It's a very funny commercial.
It's very funny.
I haven't seen it yet.
The premise is that Timothy Chalamet wants to work with Apple TV very badly. He sees all these amazing projects. He's like, Selena Gomez, whoever else.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. I want to work on Apple TV. It's funny. I think Chalamet is funnier than he gets credit for. He doesn't do a lot of comedy.
I know.
He was funny in Don't Look Up, as that kind of slacker dude.
Yeah,
Andrew, that was your favorite movie.
He's funny on SNL too.
Of that one year.
He was funny on SNL.
2021.
Floored by that still.
The SNL skit with
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Skeet. That's my favorite one.
You never love
me, Mom. Okay.
Yeah, hilarious. But but Ted Lasso's coming back. I love Ted Lasso. I was a late adopter. The whole first 2 seasons were done when I started, so I was able to just watch at my leisure. And the hard part about going back, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but the hard part about going back and rewatching Ted Lasso is, the characters win you over the course of those 2 seasons. When you go back, you're like, oh yeah, they were all a-holes. And we're like,
a lot of them start off very
so
brash.
You're like, you gotta go back to when Rebecca's kind of a jerk and Roy's kind of a jerk and Jamie Todd is kind of a jerk.
Look, Jamie Todd, that fucking Muppet, I'm still mad at myself that I like him now.
I know,
because I disliked him so strongly at the start.
Yeah, but they really managed to weave in. They pull those heartstrings,
They did.
George Ellingham at its finest.
Why would I want to be anything else?
Ted Lasso is the only thing that can make people kind of be kinder sometimes.
Maybe.
If they watch it and they're dicks, then they kind of go, hey, maybe I ought not be a dick for a day. That's about the best that we can ask for anymore.
Everybody should watch one episode of Ted Lasso a day.
I recommend it. I haven't rewatched the series, but I did over Christmas. On Christmas night, I rewatched the Christmas episode where Hannah Waddingham's character takes Ted caroling. Very good episode. Makes me misty-eyed on Christmas because it's a very nice Christmas episode.
It's a good Christmas episode. Then all the players showing up at Higgins' place. It's great.
I know it's February, but maybe we need to think about a Christmas TV bonus episode. Just our favorite TV episodes of Christmas.
That could be fun.
Anyway.
I used to watch that show right before I went to work.
Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
To get the motivation going.
Yeah.
Get inspired.
I like
that. Feel something.
Ted Lasso.
It can make you cry. It can make you happy.
Can I tell you?
Heart all in 1 second.
It's true. Josh?
Yeah,
I can see something's on the tip of your tongue there.
Yeah, I was going to say Ted Lasso is, in a lot of ways, I think, similar to the Man of the Month that we are talking about here on this show. I think Ted Lasso shares some characteristics with one Mr. Brendan Fraser. Both very wholesome people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're just
motivating by kindness for the most part.
Yes.
Leading by kindness.
Seems like great guys.
Just these sweet dudes, right? Who sometimes they get dealt a really bad hand, but they just keep going, man. They just keep going.
Darkness inside them.
They believe and believe. That's the thing.
I believe in belief.
Brendan Fraser
sorry.
is our man of the month. We are 1 week away from finishing Fraserary. Next week we're going to talk about the fan pick, so get ready for that. But this week we're going to talk about Andrew's pick. Andrew's here on the show, back with us this week. Andrew, you decided to choose The Mummy, which is a big movie, I think. One of the first movies probably anyone thinks of when they even hear Brendan's name. So let us know, I guess besides those reasons, why did you pick it? What kind of connection do you have to The Mummy?
I saw this movie on May 8th, 1999.
Great Scott.
Which was
he has the ticket stub framed on the wall.
I actually still have the ticket stub somewhere, and that's not a joke. Because I went on a Saturday afternoon. I saw this with my best friend, and I was just like, where I originally heard about this, and this is not a joke. There was a Fox special that was aired back in March called Opening the Lost Tombs Live from Egypt.
Oh yeah, King Tut.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. You and me, I watched that.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. And I remember watching that, and I was like, wow, this is all really cool. And they had an advertisement for The Mummy, and I'm like, well, that's kind of a tie-in. And so I remember seeing that. Yeah. And I remember seeing that, and we went and watched the movie afterward, after it came out, the day after it came out. And there were some legit times when I was like, this is probably the most entertaining movie I have ever seen.
Whoa.
And because it was a nonstop ride. It was a great time at the movies. I constantly brought it back up and rewatched it several times whenever I bought it on videotape, because I got it from enough of it. And my parents didn't want to watch it until I showed it to my dad, and then I showed it to my mom, and they were like, this is great. So I love this movie so very much. And the truth about it is that it has aged incredibly well. It has, it's over 20 years old. It's probably about, at least 25 years old now.
God. Yes.
24, I think.
But the thing is that I put this up there right next to Back to the Future and Raiders of the Lost Ark in being perfect movies.
That's high praise.
Very, very high praise. Okay.
And you put Brendan Fraser in it.
So is it in your top 4 on Letterboxd?
Actually, it might be. I've not done my top 10 on Letterboxd, and I need to do that.
I think you should. It's very difficult. That's why mine changes. I've allowed it to change.
Mm-hmm. But The Mummy be a worthwhile one to put in there, I think.
I think The Mummy's a good one. I put Blast from the Past in mine. It's still sitting there currently. It's it is what it is. Garrett, let's hear from you about The Mummy.
Yeah, I'm the counterbalance of Andrew. I saw this movie first, last month. I didn't really see it as a kid. Yeah. I somehow just didn't. I don't know. I don't have answers for you. I'm sure there are many of questions, but it was one that I just never saw. And then, some movies from that time frame, they don't hold up well. Graphically, storytelling wise, you never know what you're going to get. And so this was one that people have hyped up so much that I didn't necessarily want to go through and be that person who doesn't like it. And And I am proud to say that I am not that person. I very much enjoyed it because I actually sat down and I watched it just recently, honestly, because I think the first time I turned it on, it was just it was a background movie because everybody pretty much had seen it. And so it was something that we could just turn on and have a conversation with. And I had never seen it. So I was like, well, I'll just tune it out. But when I sat down and I really watched it, what I like about this is it feels like what we can look back on as like the early Paramount monster movies, and I liked that vibe. The way they set that tone, it felt very like you look at that original Mummy movie and kind of what it set forth with horror and storytelling and kind of that genre in general. And this one does a really good job of kind of giving you that feel and giving you like graphics. This is like the first kind of monster-esque movie that feels like that kind of thing where it's like, the graphics they still hold up well. They're not great, but they're of the time, but they do a good job of feeling like this is really good for the time frame and it sets the tone for a lot. And then you have the action and the adventure of the Indiana Jones, and you can see, for me seeing it in reverse order, you can see the Jungle Cruise and those types of action adventures take a lot from the Mummy and Brendan Fraser's performance, and they carry it over into that. When he comes out of the prison, he's out there looking like George of the Jungle for a hot second just to be like, here's what you think. But then they clean him up and they finally give you something different than what we've talked about in all those other ones. It's not necessarily the same Brendan Fraser fish out of water that we have seen in all of the other movies that we've talked about, with the exception of Bedazzled for the most part. And so it was really a nice way to see what he can do. And it's a shame that we didn't really get more of that, and they leaned more into the slapsticky kind of comedy aspect of what he can do overall. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to keep going. I know that the movies that I keep hearing that they don't hold up, and I know they don't, but I'm definitely interested to keep going and see why people were excited for the second one.
Mm-hmm. David, your thoughts?
Yeah, similarly, my first time watching this was Friday of this week. I just never saw it as a kid, and I actually do know the reason, because I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the Super Bowl commercial, and I thought this was a horror movie as a 9-year-old, and I was terrified. That big wall of sand with a face in it, I was like, capital nope from me, because that's not a Little David movie. I see you have George of the Jungle, but that's not going to convince me to come watch this scare fest. Nothing surprised me more to actually watch it and to discover that it's like the goofiest movie I have seen in some time. It's just so cheesy, so goofy. That title card for The Mummy was like, I was like, oh, but that's not to say that I don't like it, or it's not like it's very charming. The characters all work. It just had me, my wife goes, I mean, it's kind of a horror movie. And I was like, no, it's an adventure comedy with a scary creature. Like it has more in common with Pirates of the Caribbean than it does it. I was trying to think about another horror movie. Like it's not, the Mummy is not the most terrifying person I've ever seen, but he is creepy, and there's a lot of scary imagery. Most of the people die off screen. The funny thing, I was watching it and I was like, if this movie, exactly as it is, came out today, there'd be a lot of fanboys decrying its use of Marvel cringe humor, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of like guys falling down and going, oh, here we go again. And then it's like a lot of things like, we're in trouble. You know what I mean? Like it's very goofy. That said, I love Benny. I know he's a bad guy, but Benny had me cracking up a lot. The scene where he keeps pulling out different medallions of different faiths in hope that one of them is going to save him from this moment. Hilarious.
Hey, the man knows how to survive.
There was another funny moment. I can't remember what it was. But when he I think he just straight up jumped out a window, but him constantly surviving until he can't any longer was perfect. And I thought John Hannah was pretty funny, even though like my perception was always like he was this hilarious character. Like that was how, when I would see like clips or TikToks or videos, and it was like, John Hannah's hilarious in these movies. And I was like, okay. And I was like, he's fine. Brendan Fraser's great though. He's in it. This is the kind of role he should have been doing, was like, action adventure type roles. So that's my thoughts. It was goofy, but I enjoyed myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these are good reactions. We've got a good array here. I'm taken aback that half the room had not seen The Mummy until this year.
I'm a little surprised by David. I feel like this is a movie that you would have seen as a kid, so I'm very
Me too.
surprised.
I have seen The Scorpion King, if that helps.
It doesn't.
It does not.
It does not.
Love it. Love The Scorpion King. What a tour de force The Scorpion King is.
I think our listeners will be taken aback by this, by these revelations this episode.
It is one of those things of like, some movies hit you and some movies don't, and almost everything from the early 2000s hit me. But The Mummy, I was like determined that it was a scary movie.
I definitely land closer to Andrew when it comes to my history with the movie. I, like a lot of young boys, for some reason went through an Egypt phase where you just really like pharaohs and the pyramids and stuff, Yeah. So I remember reading about King Tut's tomb and watching that Egypt special and trying to learn about how did the pyramids, I remember doing all that.
Contextually, it was very big in the 90s.
It was.
Egypt stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing also came into play with my interest in the movie. And I do really like it. I like a good action adventure film. One of my all-time favorite franchises is Indiana Jones, and this is reminiscent of that. It's definitely the same style. And Rick O'Connell. Is it O'Connell?
Yeah, O'Connell. Yeah.
Rick O'Connell is a really good action adventure hero type. The kind of I don't know what the phrase is for it, but it's like a hero who don't want to be one. He doesn't even really want to be there.
A reluctant hero.
I'm not reluctant hero to be here today.
Yeah. He's very much a reluctant hero. Indiana Jones is the same way. These guys are like doing the right thing because they have to, not because they want to.
You just end up in it sometimes,
Exactly. So I really like all those aspects. That said, after watching so many Brendan comedies, I kind of prefer him doing comedy, I think.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm not saying that means that this was like bad or anything. I just like him more when he's being funny than when he's being an action hero. He's perfectly capable at it. This should not be taken as a slight at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just my personal preference is I think I like to laugh with him more than I like to chase sand monsters. But I like the movie.
That's fair. It is honestly one of the more different roles from him, because if you look at his early career, it was comedy.
It is. This is one that stands out. And, with how much it blew him up into the stratosphere, you can see why he kept with that. He did sequels. He did other similar movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth that kind of kept him in. I feel like that movie was like trying to be the best of both worlds and make him do a goofy kids movie and be the Mummy.
Yeah.
So you can tell that he definitely shifted career gears after this. It was a pivotal moment in his career.
I don't necessarily think go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just kind of going to wrap up my part where, I think it holds up over time when it comes to how the movie is made and how it looks. I think something about it looks like a classic Hollywood movie, I don't know if it's the film, if it's the cinematography in particular, but it looks like 1920s. It doesn't look like this movie was made in the late 90s. And right. I like that aspect. It still has that classic feel.
Another place, another time. Yeah.
Another place, another time. So well done to the behind the scenes crews.
Yeah.
Stephen Sommers,
the director.
Yep.
Can I do a little rundown on the production of the movie?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or do we have more?
The production.
Do we have more story stuff to say?
No.
I don't right now. No, let's talk about it.
So development on this movie began, believe it or not, in the 1980s. It took a long time to get it sorted out. Two guys named James Jacks and Sean Daniels, they went to Universal and they said, we'd really love to update the 1932 Mummy, right? And they had got in 1987, they got George A. Romero attached to the film to direct.
Wow.
Romero had creative difficulties. Universal Studios really, really, really wanted it to be the Mummy to be like the Terminator. And Romero felt like there was no, he said in a quote, the Mummy had no more social interaction than the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. And he eventually drifted away from the project. Next, what a follow-up. Those two guys, they're still trying to get this movie made. They signed Clive Barker to make the film. Clive Barker, also well known for the horror genre, for novels, plays, screenplays, all that stuff. He's on it for a little while. It doesn't work out. Alan Ormsby comes on. He wanted to present the Mummy, and this is I had to source this quote, but he said, Joe Dante came on and wanted to increase the budget for his idea of a Daniel Day-Lewis Mummy, which I don't even know what that means. George Romero is attached again in 1994. It doesn't work out. Eventually, Stephen Sommers comes in and basically was able to capitalize on a lot of Universal box office failures in the 90s. He said, instead of a horror movie, instead of all that, what if we look at like Indiana Jones or Jason and the Argonauts, which you can see a lot of that, the old Jason and the Argonauts movie in this, make this an adventure movie. And Universal said, they went, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Because like a horror movie with like a $10 million budget, that ain't really going to help us that much. Let's go big. So that worked out.
I think that's the right way to do it, honestly.
I would agree. You know, I don't want to say never, but mummies aren't scary.
No, and the thing about the Mummy,
this Mummy is the scariest.
It is. This Mummy is scarier. Although I don't know.
I mean,
it turns into something not reminiscent of what you think of as a mummy.
It is.
There were some times. I mean, whenever I first saw this, there were some times when I like put my hands over my eyes because, like, especially whenever the mummy comes to life and the mummy takes the dude's eyes. Mm-hmm. That was freaky to me.
As a nearsighted individual, it was quite terrifying. I could put myself right in that scenario of not being able to see because my glasses were off.
Yeah. I mean,
well, I think you have to look at the monster that you're dealing with, right? I mean, like, there are elements of these Paramount monsters that are horror. There are more that are action adventure. I mean, the part of the mummy that's scary is the curse, right? Mm-hmm. If a mummy's up walking around doing his little zombie thing, it's not scary. It's just kind of silly because it's just the mummy. But right. the ability to find it, and then the curse unleashed, and then all of that. But the buildup is there, and then the scares come. They kind of, they do a little jump scare. But I think they handled this one well. Whereas, like, the early one, that you can easily just scare people because it's the first time they've seen things like that. So it's easy to become
different.
It's easy. Well, it's easy to be classified as a horror movie because. And then, if you want to remake it, you have to try to live up to that. But it did it in a different way, and I think it's good because. You look at the Tom Cruise one, and it's shit.
It does.
And so
I've never seen it. Never seen the Tom Cruise
one.
It's bad.
Don't waste your time on it. It's awful. But this one handles it well, and
right.
So I think that this is the right way to do that. I think other monsters have different ways to handle it, but kudos on them.
Yeah, I think it was the right way to go as well. I think that it allows. I think it allows you to just do more. Because there's adventure in this, there's romance, there's scary imagery. I wouldn't go as far to say it's a full-on horror. There's scary imagery, but it has that swashbuckling, old-time Hollywood adventure feel to it, like Josh said.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think part of that is throwing back to that time period when there were a lot of explorers, or archaeologists digging through Egypt, and also. Kind of as a nod to the time period of when the original Universal Mummy would have come out. So a lot of stuff going in its favor to stick with that action adventure route. I don't know. I don't think I could see it being scary, especially not with Brendan. I don't see Brendan in a horror movie.
I think someone said there was an interview with him about, I don't remember where I saw this, but I think it may have been in our Discord. If it wasn't, then I'll just plug our Discord, where we post news and articles and things like this all the time. But they asked Brendan about why he didn't think people liked the Tom Cruise one. And he said, because he didn't have any fun. And I agree with that. If you the mummy in itself, again, not scary. And the whole idea of it is just kind of, it doesn't really connect as a horror. So if you do the action adventure and you have the Egypt feel and you set that right environment like they did, it really sucks people in. And I think that's key.
Yeah.
I'll have to drop this in our Discord that you plugged a second ago. But did you guys see the photo going around of Brendan recently surprising an audience at a special screening of The Mummy?
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, Brendan walking out on stage in full Rick O'Connell gear.
Andrew's like, why wasn't it me?
He's got the khakis. He's got the leather jacket. He's Brendan Fraser. It's great. It's great.
Here we go again.
He's really just having a victory lap right now, and I'm loving it.
So can I drop some casting about this movie, some details about this?
I would love to hear that.
Interestingly, they offered the role originally to, guess what? Tom Cruise, who did go on to do a Mummy later.
Fascinating.
And they also approached Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, and none of them were really interested. According to this article from 1999, the producers saw the success of George of the Jungle, and they saw that Brendan Fraser took George of the Jungle and made it $100 million movie. And they said, that's a guy who has star power, who's also really inexpensive, because you are not going to pay Brendan Fraser at that time, 1999, as much as Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, or Matt Damon. So,
yeah.
So it was thank goodness for everybody's favorite movie, George of the Jungle. It gave us The Mummy.
Well, and I think that once we talked about, whether he should do action adventure, we talked about some of us like his comedy. I think this again shows the overall well-roundedness that Brendan Fraser can do, because, you get an action adventure, but he's also able to pepper in some comedy. He's also be able to give you that romantic charm. You look at Blast from the Past, and he's got that wholesome innocenceness, and can just be very charming when need be. And then you look at George of the Jungle, and he can be a beautiful idiot. So he really can just span and do it.
He can do it all. Well, and it's funny that he said, or that they said basically that he was a bankable star and he was inexpensive, because he's been going around doing press tours for The Whale. And in another recent interview, somebody asked Brendan if he would be open to returning to The Mummy in a Mummy sequel. And he basically said that, he would do it. And he said, quote, I don't think I've been this famous and unsalaried at the same time in my professional life. Which is a great, you're still a bankable star who everyone underappreciates.
Right. Yeah. He's a very, he's not going to turn down the paycheck.
No, exactly. And I love that. I love how genuine that is. Cause he could be like, no, I think that time is over. And I don't want to ruin the original Mummy, but he's like, hell no, give me the money.
Yeah. I want the money.
Show me the money.
He was, so this is normally a film that we might cover in a so many sequels format, where we talk about each individual one. They made Return of the Mummy. They made a third one. What was it? The Emperor's
New
Tomb,
Groove,
something like that. The Emperor's New Groove with Jet Li or Bruce Lee. Is it Jet Li? I think it's Jet Li.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but maybe one day we'll circle around to those. I don't know.
Yeah, can we do a quick so many sequels review? Andrew, Josh, have you seen them? David? You love the Scorpion King. You said
love the Scorpion King. What a tour de force. Did I say that already? Anyway,
yeah, you did. Unfortunately,
I only have so many superlatives.
I've seen some terrible graphics from it, but I've not seen the movie.
I have never seen the third one, because the Scorpion King to me was okay. I thought it was fine, but The Mummy Returns, it was really, it's not a letdown. It's a fun movie to watch, but the problem is that it's always that sequel. Oh, what do you call it? It's that sequel syndrome, where it's really trying its best to be slump, just as good. And it was just like bloop, bloop,
it just felt like more of the same. It didn't feel like anything new. Is that the problem?
Fall into that trap in those early 2000 sequels.
Yeah, and the truth is that there are some cool aspects of it, but there really isn't a lot to it. and some of the CGI in it. There's a reason why the Mummy Returns has like some of the worst CGI you'll ever see. It is bad. It really is bad.
There's the infamous scene with The Rock as the Scorpion King monster.
Yeah.
I mean, Industrial Light and Magic worked on at least the first film. I don't know if they worked on the second one or not. So there is some pretty high, for the time, pretty high quality stuff in this first one. But I think that I feel like The Mummy Returns was the one that was always on TV when I was a kid. It was like Mummy Returns and Scorpion King, and I never saw the original Mummy ever on TV. But so I've seen clips of The Mummy Returns, but not enough that I could really comment on it.
Yeah, I've seen them and have no interest in going forward.
Did you see the Emperor, the one with Jet Li, the third one?
I have not actually seen that one. No.
Oh, interesting.
No.
There we go.
But I saw Scorpion King and I saw Return of the Mummy, and they were no-goes for me. Although, did you all see that after the Critics' Choice Awards, The Rock was sure to post a photo of him and Brendan from the time and thanking him for welcoming him into his franchise.
That's true.
Because Dwayne must always make everything about him.
Have his moment. He's got to have his moment. He's in full heel mode right now.
He's got to tone it down. He's got to turn the volume down to about 5.
I love him, but it's because he's a giant cartoon.
He is, and it's true. I'm pretty sure the Mummy Returns, I think, is Dwayne's first appearance, like in a
blockbuster,
like a legitimate movie.
It was.
I think so. It is kind of funny how
it's significant.
It's and say what you want about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but he's had an immensely long career in Hollywood. So something's working. It wasn't The Mummy Returns, but something's working.
Yeah.
He's big now than he was then.
Exactly. They've swapped, if anything. Any other?
You guys see The Rock doing a movie and Brendan Fraser's face is stapled onto a monster? That would be pretty funny.
I feel like we're doing a little too much Rock bashing, and that can come back to haunt us. He's still a very big man with a lot of money and a lot of pull.
He's going to be president one day.
He's gonna pull us off the air. Hey,
here's the thing.
I've watched him since he has been a jabroni, beaten, pie eating, eyebrow raising son of a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to bash Dwayne. I'm trying to keep him humble. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
This is a respect thing. I think he would say the same. Like, Dwayne, you're being goofy. Okay. You're not doing anything wrong yet. You're just being goofy.
He does it. He's trying too much, trying too hard. He doesn't need to.
You need to try less.
The Rock can do more, so much more with less. And I love him, but I do think, like, I don't know. There's part of me that wants to believe like he's healing it up a little bit because of his eventual return to the place that started it all, and that way he can go back as Hollywood Rock. Everybody boo him. Anyway.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about with this movie? We didn't talk about Rachel Weisz at all.
Yes. She's fantastic all the time.
Yeah, she's fine.
What can be said about Rachel Weisz? If we had, I don't know. There's no good Rachel Weisz month that I can think of.
Yeah.
So if I can say anything about Rachel Weisz, is that, like,
if you could say anything,
the movie pretty much is like, the movie is a pretty, I would say, pro-feminist movie, and it can be argued about that. I mean, there's actually an article written about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that we get about Rachel Weisz's character is that Rachel Weisz she's not a damsel in distress. She's not a damsel in distress at any point in time. She actually holds her own very well. And
they do literally call her a damsel in distress in the movie. So there's that. But go ahead. I'm with you.
Yeah. But, like, the thing is that, like, they don't call any attention to that. She holds her own very well.
Mm-hmm.
She, Rick, she's not, like, being overpowered by anybody, and she's not being overpowered by the protagonist here. That's what I'm thinking of.
She's very in charge of herself.
Yeah.
Right.
And
she doesn't
need they have, like, a magical moment, which is great. And so Rachel Weisz on her own is, again, terrific. I loved Rachel Weisz in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's
not a bad thing I can say about the Mummy.
To contrast that, it was the moment where Rachel Weisz accidentally falls, perfectly balances in the middle on a ladder, and then tries to walk herself and ends up spilling books everywhere. That I went, huh? I guess this movie's like doofusy. Like it's kind of like it was really like that whole moment. I was just like, I didn't realize there was going to be a little bit of like slapstick humor in here.
Yeah, it's got that old slapstickiness,
And so like, and you're not wrong, Garrett. The now that I've seen it, the Jungle Cruise is very comparable to this. It definitely reminded me a lot of that, even though that's a newer movie. Obviously, it feels like it drew from this same inspiration, the same well. I also do want to mention, Garrett, unless you have something else to add.
Nope.
I do want to say Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep. He's pretty scary. He gets a little mustache twirly towards the end, but but he was scary. Where's Arnold Vosloo's comeback? This guy has a great look. He's very convincing in this. I don't know what's he doing now.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I don't know.
A whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. I don't think he ever. I think like
animations on
returns. After the Mummy Returns, he's just kind of there.
A lot of animated films I'm seeing on here too, which that's fine. That's cool.
Okay, well, let's talk about the great financial success of this movie.
Yeah, I won't spend too much time on it because we did just talk about the year 1999 in Blast from the Past. This was Brendan's second
movie. Big bangers from Brendan. Yeah. Big banger Brendan in 1999.
Well, definitely he had. Well, one was definitely a big banger. The other one was it did okay.
It was a banger in my heart.
So according to that same article I was talking about a minute ago, they were really worried that the Mummy was going to get hit hard by the Phantom Menace. That it wasn't. The Phantom Menace was going to take all of the ticket sales. But the Mummy would open May 7th of 1999. Andrew, was that the date you said you were there?
Yep.
Yeah. So May 8th. There you go. So it brought in
Saturday.
One of this amount of money is Andrew Nichols' parents, probably, or in by himself. I don't know. The Mummy brought in $43.3 million, opened number 1, and just behind that you had Entrapment in its second week. The Matrix was still plugging away in its 6th week at number 3. Life, which I believe is the Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence film, just rewatched that the other week. Still love it. Still hilarious. You gonna eat your cornbread? And then at number 5, a movie called Election, which I have no memory of at all.
You know that, Josh.
Election is a great movie.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick, Reese Witherspoon.
Cameron Diaz or something? Is that who I'm
Good movie.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon. Okay.
Yeah.
It's an Alexander Payne movie.
Yeah. It's weird, but it's good.
There you go. So the Mummy would go on to make $155 million in the United States, 177 overseas, or excuse me. What does this say?
Made a lot of money.
Yeah, and then it made only 177,000 overseas. So they must not have given this much of an international release.
Missed opportunity.
That's sus.
And so I bet they didn't make that mistake with the follow-ups. Anyway, 155,000. That's pretty darn good. It would go on to be the number 8 movie of 1999. Phantom Menace was number 1, bringing in $430 million in the United States. 6 Cents at number 2. Toy Story 2. Spy Who Shagged Me at number 4, and The Matrix. We talked about those a little bit more when we did Blast from the Past. That's your wrap up from 1999 and the movie The Mummy at the box office.
Wow. Good. Yeah. Every time we hit 1999, it's a good episode at least.
Banger after banger. David knows.
I don't. But that's
the girls who know, no. The girls who get it, whatever it is.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Okay, well.
All right.
It's now time to play the Letterbox game.
Yeah.
We've explained our new rules a couple times, but if you haven't heard or you forgot, the new rules are if you get it, if any of us get it exactly right, we get 2 points. Whoever gets it closest without getting it right will get 1 point. And we're going to see if this makes things any more interesting.
Yep. Or if Andrew and David still kick our butts every single week.
Currently, the score is 2-2 to 1. It's me and Andrew tied with 2 apiece, and Josh at 1. Garrett has yet to score.
So while we mull over our guesses for what the Letterboxd community thinks of this movie, here are a few of the most popular reviews currently available to view. The most popular review, 3 stars. I like that the mummy's number 1 superpower is the ability to make his lower jaw like 2 feet long.
Yeah.
4 stars. Brendan Fraser is an all-time great movie yeller.
Run. Yeah.
The man can yell.
Go, go, go. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
3.5 stars. Brendan Fraser is born himbo. All he does in this is look hot, fight, and love and respect Rachel Weisz.
Oh, yes. Yeah, him and Oded Fur were whooping butt in this movie and looking great doing it.
Finally, 4 stars. The 3rd best Indiana Jones movie.
Hey, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking this whole time.
Biting.
You know how sometimes people include Galaxy Quest in with the Star Trek movies? I was feeling like this can be an honorary Indiana Jones movie.
Indiana Jones 6. Rick O'Connell has to save Indiana Jones from the nursing home.
They just meet, so this is set in 1922. The first Indiana Jones movies are all set in the 30s or 40s.
40s, I think.
I think somewhere around there.
Raiders is in the 40s.
So, Rick O'Connell and Indiana Jones could have met.
They definitely
Rick O'Connell interacts with Indiana Jones, and then down the line, Rick O'Connell interacts with Tom Holland as Drake from Uncharted, and we just connect all of these and make him one big giant.
Laura Croft, get Laura Croft in there,
Yeah.
Yep. Throw in Shia LaBeouf just cause.
Oh God, yes, bang him. Yep, all over.
Okay.
Oh man.
Can we throw in Matthew McConaughey?
Sure. From
Sahara? Okay. That's fine.
You know what? We're throwing
Sahara,
everyone
man.
in now.
I'll tell you what, off topic. Sahara. So there's a movie theater in my hometown of Collinsville, and it went out of business. But after it went out of business, they didn't change like any of the stuff on the storefront. So Sahara was coming soon for years. They just left that poster in the main marquee outside. And it's like a Veterans Hall today or something like that. But I just remember laughing, thinking, I wonder if Sahara was any good.
Yeah.
I'll never know.
Wow. Okay. We've stalled long enough. What are our guesses?
Let's hit it. I'm going to say it's a 3.6.
I'm going to say 3.4.
3.7.
Oh, screw me.
It's just going to throw them all in there.
I know. I didn't want mine to get taken.
It's your turn, Andrew.
It's my turn?
No. Yeah. You just guess. Just guess.
It's your turn to guess.
Okay.
I'm still running it. It's fine.
4.0.
Ooh, that's a high guess.
Actually,
oh my God.
No.
Hang on. So,
you took your hand off the chess piece.
Has anybody said 3.8?
No.
I will say that.
All right. Now, there you go.
We got a 3.6, a
3.4,
a 3.7, and a 3 point.
If it is a 3.5 and we have to do a tiebreaker between Josh and I, we'll just do the Mummy Returns, I think.
Okay, well, it is in fact a 3.5. So we will need a tiebreaker.
Do you want to do the Mummy Returns? Or you want to do the Scorpion King?
Either way is fine because I will be pulling it out of thin air.
There you go.
I guess let's do the Mummy Return. Wait, no. Yes, Mummy Returns. Why not?
Okay. It's 3.5 for the first one. I'm going to say even 3.0 for a second one.
Ooh, okay. I feel like that's a good guess. I'm gonna have to go lower though and go with a 2.6.
Okay.
I think. Okay. Mummy Returns. Loading now. It's David. You win. It's a 2.9.
Ah, it's close. It's
So
close.
you
I'm
were-
only giving
you were
myself 1
closest.
point though.
That's true. Wow. That was exciting. A real thriller.
You never know what you're going to get on the Letterboxd game here on so many sequels.
You don't, especially when a tiebreaker gets thrown in there. All bets are off.
Man.
That was a movie that we haven't even watched. We just guessing.
Yep.
You know, and we were pretty close.
And we were. We were. All right. What are our final ratings? Final thoughts and ratings on The Mummy.
This is a 5-star movie.
Dang, son.
Can't be
Big
beat.
ups from Andrew. I mean, it is
Can't be beat. 5 stars. Wow. Amazing.
Stunning.
This
Fascinating.
Stunning
5
development.
stars.
I'm going to side with the Letterboxd community. I'm going to give it 3.5.
I'm going to give it a 4 stars.
Oh,
4 stars.
There you go.
I think I'm also going to go with 4 stars.
There you go. All right. That's pretty good praise from all of us, I think.
It's like a 4.1 average.
There you go. That was what Andrew was picturing.
We're outpacing Letterboxd a little bit, but yeah, Andrew.
We always do.
No, we didn't last week.
Well, that's true.
Well, we were way under on Bedazzled.
Way under.
Very sharp contrast.
Well, that's The Mummy. We have one more week of Brendan Fraserary left, where we will be covering a fan favorite pick collected from our social media. You can find us on all your favorite apps, most likely. We're there. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can find us individually on Letterboxd, and you can find the show on Letterboxd, So Many Sequels. And of course, check out our Patreon. If you could subscribe to us there, if you really love us. Wink, wink. I'm not good at winking for the video audience. Go check that out. If you sign up for Patreon, you get Discord access where you can hang out with us and some other cool people. And it's a good time. It's a good time for everybody. So that's it. One more week of Brendan Fraserary, then back to some regularly scheduled programming. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up after this month. So don't you worry. We have plans.
It'll be interesting. By the time these release, we'll know whether or not Brendan will know the nominations for the Academy Awards.
That's true. That's very true. Very soon. Very soon. Okay. Well, we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.